What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Paul with Severe Weather 2 or the Severe Weather page on Facebook. That's what I'm live streaming through right now. We are taking a look at this weather situation. I don't know what just happened with my weather app. It just seems like it froze up for a second. Let me restart it. So I'm also currently looking at the iWeatherNet Doppler radar to get live data on what is going on here. I'll have to refresh that here in a second, but I'm going to go to my radar just to show you the situation here. As I've been kind of watching this outgoing, we have several severe thunderstorm warnings out in this slight risk median area here, and I've been trying to kind of watch as this thing progresses to see how it's developing, how it's progressing from here. So this is the basic movement of it. Got this warm front here, cold front behind it, and just kind of pushing it along. And this is that chord front that I was talking about in the video I made this morning. Now you can see these severe thunderstorms kind of starting to move to the east as they're being extended. Yeah, this thing's got to time up. But I was looking at, this is the high def radar, so we are looking at high definition radar right now. And earlier I was seeing a little bit of the notching that's going on. See how this is, this is kind of bumpy in here, a little bit of notches in here, and that kind of lets me know that the convection levels are a little bit upgraded here. And just the basic structure of this, the way that it looks, there is a little bit of notching going in here. But when I looked at the classic radar, let's look at the classic and the reflectivity and velocity radar as well. But let's take a look here. So you can see that notching that's in there a little bit better. A lot of hail cores in this too. A lot of that purple that's in there. So there's a lot of potential for hail in both the northern part of this and the southern. There's not any in this frame, but there has been. There you go. Now you can see some of those pinks showing up. There is a lot of thunder and lightning attributed with this as well. And there is some notching, a little bit of notching, mostly in this segment here is kind of what I'm seeing. So that notching that you see in there, these little bow units where it kind of dips in, and that's that notching that we're seeing in here. And when you get that notching, sometimes that could mean that you got some convection that might spin up a tornado, a brief spin up tornado here and there or something. But there's several severe thunderstorm warnings out, which means heavy torrential rainfall, possibility for hail, high winds is probably a definite. And this, and this thing is moving along at like, I think it was like 55 miles an hour. It's moving along, so it's moving quick. And then they also have the severe thunderstorm watch that was in effect for the whole day, just because of all that. That's a big pink shaded area that you're seeing here. Severe thunderstorms. These warnings are pretty much all along this entire squall line. So 2-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour gusts that are expected with this. Trained weather spotters reported the 2-inch hail near Cadillac. And people and animals outdoors are expected to be injured. Damage to roofs, sidings, windows, all kinds of that stuff. So definitely if you live in the Michigan area, and I mean, this is going to be coming over your area, you definitely want to get to a safe place now just to make sure that your family and your belongings and your pets and things are safe. So because this is a pretty powerful storm. It's got a little bit of a kick to it. Hopefully it won't be dropping any tornado warnings. That would be a good day if we didn't have any tornadoes attributed with this. But now going to the reflectivity and the velocity radar here at iWeatherNet, I'm going to go ahead and try to refresh this. Let's just go to the reflectivity for a second here, and I'll show you a little bit. See those big white hail cores that are in there, and you can see the hail that this thing is dropping in different segments. So there is a lot of hail to be dropped in these severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's why they're issuing these warnings the way that they are. But even in the reflectivity, you can see a little bit of that notching that's going on in this classic radar. This classic pixelated radar that's usually hard for people to see. But even up here where we don't have a thunderstorm warning, there's some apparent hail cores that's in there as well. So, and there could be some rotation in here too, and that's why I was checking the velocity radar. So with that notching that's going on at nearly the front of the squall line here, you see these greens that are real close to the reds, and that's those little pockets where we're getting a little bit of that light rotation that going on there, a little bit of disturbance in that wind, and you know, where those cells are reorganizing a little bit here. So yeah, so we were watching this, and that might have been another reason for the severe thunderstorm warnings, because a lot of times the National Weather Service will put out the severe thunderstorm warnings when you got a little bit of rotation, but maybe it's just not enough rotation for them to issue a tornado watch or a tornado warning. But that rotation that is going on in some brief areas here and there is something that we're going to be watching. Uh, Looking down at the southern region of this as well, we're kind of seeing the same thing a little bit here and there, where you can see a little bit of those greens kind of mixed in with the reds, very, very close to the reds there, and that could indicate some minor rotation that's going on in some of those. Going to the Grand Rapids radar. And I went to the Grand Rapids radar initially to confirm what I was seeing from the northern radar. And it was looking the same way, just, you know, the colors are kind of opposite, but you're seeing the same thing where you're getting a little bit of those greens near the reds, and they're kind of getting, you know, pinched up pretty close, and that's going to be that convection showing itself, you know, showing that there's a little bit of instability in there that's causing a little bit of that rotation that's going on. So we're hoping that we're hoping for the best, planning for the worst, right? Hopefully this will start to weaken as it comes along, and that's what I'm kind of hoping on. The other thing though too is that a lot of that rotation that I was seeing was kind of at the front of this squall line, and it doesn't happen every time, but usually when that happens, and if we do get tornadoes that are along the front of the squall line rather than the center or the back of it, depending on where the position is at. From what I've experienced and from what I've seen, that is that tornadoes that form on the front of the line like this, they're usually weaker and on the small side, and they don't last very long. They're very short-lived usually. So just because the wind fields can't hold that kind of stability on the front of the line for very long, they start to lose that organization and then eventually dissipate. While it's on the ground, though, it still can do a significant amount of damage, so you still have to be careful, of course. But you know, that's what the severe thunderstorm warnings are coming out for, because in my opinion, severe thunderstorm warnings should be treated just about the same as a tornado warning. The only difference is that a tornado warning is evidence. It means that it is confirmed that a tornado is on the ground. But this, you know, severe thunderstorm warnings sometimes can be just as bad in some cases. So you still should be able, you still should have to take cover, you know what I mean, and get your family to a safe place during a severe thunderstorm warning or watch. You know what I mean? Make sure you have a plan in place to keep your family and your belongings and your pets safe and things like that. You know, do what you can. So that's what we're kind of looking at right now as far as the weather situation is concerned. Some of those, let me see what the Doppler says here, because this Doppler I don't use as often because sometimes it's not as clear for me to see everything. You can see those lights flash and all that. Look at all that that lightning that's attributed with this. This usually needs a minute to update so it can kind of catch up. Usually the Dopplers on my radar are like that. So that is that reflectivity radar. Now you can see a little bit better those bows that are coming in there, a little bit of that notching that's going on in there in some places, and it's not terrible. It's you know, it's pretty moderate, pretty limited, but still one hefty storm that can you know, that could potentially do damage without a tornado. You see, you're getting a little bit of all these bowing segments here. It's rather straight of a line, but you're still getting a lot of these bowing segments in there, which means that it's going to increase winds forward of the line. The winds are going to be kind of bad. And then all these deep reds and these purples, it means very hard torrential rainfall, very hard hail that's going on. So definitely get to a safe place where your family is going to be safe through this. It's pretty serious stuff. Okay, trying to look at this Doppler. Go ahead and update. Come on, come on. There we go. It's a little slow. Sorry about that. So it seems like the notching isn't as bad down here. Come on. So sometimes the weather gets so bad in these regions that these Dopplers take a minute to actually update, because they're not getting the kind of signal that they normally would, on a clear day or when the weather's nicer. Yeah, a little bit of notching that's going on in here, but it's not significant. It doesn't look like the beefy kind of notching that you see before significant tornadoes, but there is a little bit of that notching that is in there. This segment up here to the north is kind of what I'm worried about a little bit more. It's a little bit more concerning to me, but it's not terrible. Just trying to see, just trying to watch it and see what's going on. There's a little bit of that notching there. There's a little bit going in there. Boop, boop, right there. Seems like there's a little bit going on in there. So, and then even in, the rain bands that are ahead of it, where you got kind of a wide rain band that's in here, even still with some of these Boeing segments, the winds just ahead of it and aloft are going to be kind of just these runaway winds that are going, especially with the fronts behind it pushing it along, and it's moving at 55 miles an hour. So the heavy winds ahead of this is going to be really the most damaging factor. And the hail, of course. I mean, the hail is, oh, what did they say? It was in diameter. Yeah, 2-inch hail. 2-inch hail is that's pretty big. I mean, that is pretty big in some areas, so that can definitely do some damage and cause some injury. So you definitely don't want to be outside right now. I definitely would say get into cover, because that hail will mess you up. But even with that, even without the hail, the wind threat through here with this line looking the way that it does, it's going to be very heavy winds for a little bit just before this line comes to your area, and as soon as it passes, then behind it, the winds will start to die down a little bit. And then as this front comes along, it's going to push along, and once it goes through your area, it'll, the wind will kind of go up and down, and it'll kind of, it'll kind of fluctuate over the next couple of hours. All right, let's see here. Come on. Come on. Gather up all your data. Let's go. All right, so we're taking a look at this. This is right near Cadillac, just south of Cadillac is where I'm kind of looking now. I'm waiting for this Doppler to catch up. I think that it's just kind of hard to get signals out of this sometimes when it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of bad weather out there. Yeah, see, this is why I don't like this one too much. Well, see, there's a segment there where you're getting a little bit of rotation in that, but it doesn't seem like it's significant enough to warrant a tornado warning. But it seems like there are some segments that are rotating a little bit, but this one doesn't give me as clear of an image as iWeatherNet, and that's the only reason that I like using iWeatherNet a little bit more. So let's go ahead and refresh this. Alright. Yeah, so it seems like this, the deep reds in here, they're kind of going up and down, and they're fluctuating in its strength. It seems like there's still a pretty strong hail core in there. There's still kind of an inflow notch that's right here. A little bit of those that notching that's in here. And then, of course, some really bad storms, it looks like, up here with possibly some hail in it. But it seems like these are the worst segments of the storm right now. Let me get a better, clear image of the southern portion of this. This is looking like it might, even though there is a lot of, yeah, see this segment here that's bowed like that? So if we go to my radar, let's go to the high def. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, so right here, where they're getting that bowing, in the storm right here. You're getting that bowing just like a bow and arrow, you know what I mean? And it looks like a bow. And that's really what causes some of the heaviest winds actually is just ahead of that when you get those bowing segments that are bowing out like you're getting here. Um, some of those other sections there, I mean, it's not too much bowing like that up there, but you're getting that bowing right here. Sometimes there can be very, very heavy winds just ahead of that and attributed with that. Um, and as far as the lightning, it seems like there's a lot of lightning that is connected with this. Hang on a second. You can see all those light flashes that are going on. So there's a lot of lightning embedded in this storm. So that's another threat that you have to be mindful of, is that there could be some threats with cloud to ground lightning, and that positively charged lightning, which that's 200 million volts or something crazy like that. It's definitely enough to light you up like a Christmas tree. So you definitely want to be safe outside with all that lightning going on. You don't want to be outside for that. And so there's a hail threat, there's the wind threat, and definitely the severe and heavy rain. The torrential rainfall. So you're gonna have to worry about some flooding issues that are going to be possibly there as apparent with that as well. So there's a lot of hazards going on right now. And then going over the Great Lakes as well, you got these gale warnings, and so there could be some water issues coming from the Great Lakes as well themselves from the gale warnings. Possibly, you know what I mean? There might even be one or two water spouts that kind of come up there too. I think Lake Superior, half the lake is under a gale warning right now, and it's because of this big cold front that's coming through. And so as it's pushing the storm along with that cold front, it's causing these gale warnings. It's kind of just stirring this convection up a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and let's check out our atmospherics to see what our CAPE is doing. I could pull up the pivotal weather and look at the models there, but let's see. Limited surface observations are available across CONUS for this analysis. Alright, so you're seeing that temperature that's right up there around 77, a little bit rising up there. That's pretty warm, so that's not gonna do very well with that daytime heating for any convection levels. It's gonna make it a little bit unstable up there. Dew points in 63. Dew points is 63, so there's a lot of moisture in that area right now. We're looking at about surface CAPE 2,000. Look at that, 2,000 joules of CAPE to 1,000 joules going down into the Ohio Valley. So that's a significant instability. Already got wind shear going across Michigan. It's 50 to 70 knots. Surface vortice. There's that little pocket of surface vortice right there on this side of Michigan right here, where we're seeing a lot of that severe thunderstorm activity right there. So we got a little pocket of that surface vortice that's there, and that's going to be because of that daytime heating, that convection, that instability in the atmosphere right there is making it possible for some of that vortice to possibly come up. That's where you're seeing that lower end tornado risk possibly. Some supercell development is definitely there. That's already up to about 8, somewhere around there. So you're getting that significant right there in the same place where this surface vortice is at, where we're seeing most of those severe thunderstorm warnings. That's where you're getting that supercell development. That's right there. And then, of course, that confirms it right there, tornado parameter. And this is the significant tornado parameter. Got a little spot of that red right there. So that's that lower end tornado threat that you're seeing right there. Little spot of helicity. So it's really given these storms the helicity and the energy levels in order to ramp up really nicely. So that's what we're looking at right now. So definitely, if you live in Michigan, really anywhere in Michigan, get your family safe. Get to a safe place and look for that, because we got several severe thunderstorm warnings out that could, with the atmospherics the way they are, that could easily turn into tornado warnings, at least briefly. But even without that, with the severe thunderstorm warnings that we do have out there, and the storm, the way it's looking, this is this is a risk. This could be life-threatening. It could be dangerous. So definitely be safe and try to keep your family safe. That's all that it is, and I wish you all good luck, and I'll give you updates from here as they come along. I appreciate you watching, and thanks for joining me.